The Power Up with Keith Withrow show is sponsored by Motor Coach Consulting International. Excellence in ground transportation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Power Up with Keith Withrow show. And today, man, we got a real heavy hitter with us, man. I told y'all we were coming with some high power content. So here we go, baby. We got my man Blue here, man. Blue Williams. Y'all might know about him. Y'all in the entertainment industry, y'all know this guy. This guy managed some of the hottest artists and groups throughout the 90s, man. And throughout, this guy carved away in the industry, man. Cats like Outkast. And I'll let him go into the long list of entertainers that he's managed. But with no further ado, I just want to say, man, this is I like this guy. This show right here, like we always said, man, we're about to come back. We want to talk about the stuff that people don't talk about, man. How can you get hit in the mouth and come back? How do you persevere? How you power up and come through? With no further ado, my man, Big Blue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it, man.
Glad to have you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Man, look, you know, like I just said, man, I like to talk about things that everybody can identify with. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody knows about the fame and fortune. We could talk about that all day, man. Mm-hmm. The cars, the ladies, the houses, the parties, and all the stuff that come along with fame and fortune. But, you know, I think there's a time, especially now, where there's some things that people don't talk about so much. Some of the elephants in the room, we're going to get into that a little bit further, but I just want to start off by just telling for the people who don't really know about a lot of your accomplishments and some of the things that you've done. Let's hear about you, man. Let's hear about Blue. How'd you get started in this, man?
Born and raised in the Bronx, New York.
All right.
Grew up in the 80s, born on Cedric Avenue, the birthplace of hip hop. I literally grew up the street from where it all started.
Yeah.
Was a kid going to block parties and going to the parks. We was them kids that was plugging things up and setting up the DJ tables. And I got a chance to see the Slick Ricks and Dougie Freshers and the Kool Moe Dees and all them battling in the park. So hip hop is in me. I am, like it's in my DNA.
Yeah.
But basketball was where I was going.
Okay.
I was playing basketball in high school, went to college to play basketball, went to a college named Central State University in HBCU up in Ohio, and really just was enjoying life. I wasn't thinking about the music industry, nothing. I was thinking about getting a JD and go and try and become a lawyer and a judge or something.
Right.
But as fate would have it, the group Jodeci came through one night to perform in the area.
Right.
And I went to the show and I saw their dancers, two of their dancers, and I recognized them. I was like, "Wait, that looks like," and it was two girls that had been cheerleaders on my high school basketball team.
Okay.
So made my way backstage to say hi to them, and ended up going to the hotel and meeting Jodeci and hanging out with them that night, and they were cool. And it was like, "Yeah, where y'all going tomorrow?" It was like, "Yeah, we're going up to Detroit." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool. It's the weekend." It was like a Friday, so it was like, "We can go." So me and my best friend jumped in the car. We drove up to Detroit. Hung out with them at the show and backstage at the show, and I kind of caught the bug. I told you, there's a bug that you get in this industry. It's being backstage, the access, the energy.
Right.
And so the next city was Chicago, and if you know the Midwest,
like
everything's like 4 hours. Yeah, the next night was like Chicago.
Okay.
So I was like, "Yo, let's just roll to Chicago," because everything's like 4 hours away.
Right.
So we drove to Chicago. Same thing. Hung out with them backstage, having fun. It was a different energy, but I really liked it. And the next city they were going to was Minneapolis. Now that was like 8 hours. I was like, that's a little bit more hike. So me and my best friend went back to school, And now I'm back at school and I'm thinking about, yo, that life is kind of cool, but I don't know how to get into it, nothing.
Right.
And Jodeci's road manager, Charlucci, called me one day, was like, yo, we're going on tour with MC Hammer. And he was like, yo, you want to go out? And I was like, I mean, go out and do what? Like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, you just come out. We need, like, you
So
can
you
do stuff.
bonded with this guy with those 2 road trips.
Yeah, I got cool with them, and they liked me enough. And so they invited me on tour. And I left college and went on tour with Jodeci.
And what was your job?
I was a roadie. I was the position nobody wanted. Like, my job is to do all the jobs that nobody wants to do.
Okay.
So
you had to do
everything.
You had to do the run around.
I went to Western Union at 3:00 in the morning. That was at the Greyhound.
Run.
I went to Waffle House run. I loaded the bus, unloaded the bus.
And they paid you to do this.
I was getting paid $200 a week, I think, at first. No, actually, I was getting per diem. So when you're on the road, per diem is Latin for per day.
Right.
And so you get like $30 a day to eat.
Right.
And so I was getting like per diem, so it was like $210 a week I was really making. I didn't care. And I had free room and board. I was on a bus, and I was living the time of my life. And then I ate at the venue every night. Like, it was kind of, you made it work.
Yeah, exactly.
A few cities into the tour.
And you were in college anyway, so
I was used to barely eating anyway. Yeah, it was. I'm living like this is college on. I'm cool with it.
Exactly.
And so a couple of cities into the run, there was this altercation at a mall, and me, Devontae, and one of the other securities got into a fight. And one of the guys we were fighting, I kind of threw him through a window in the mall, like through the glass window in the mall.
Sounds like someone else that I know.
And Devontae,
you got something in common.
See, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And
yeah.
So Devontae decided that I wasn't gonna just be roadie. I now was part of their bodyguard crew. So I got a promotion. So now I was the bodyguard that did roadie work.
Yeah,
like, so I just
you were a big guy.
So and then I spent the next like 2 years with Jodeci, kind of touring the world and going to London and learning, and great times, great experiences. On the Hammer tour, we met H-Town before they were out.
Right.
We met Missy and Timbaland. We found Genuine.
Wow.
Drew Hill was still working in Baltimore Harbor at the spot they got discovered at. It was like, we met a lot of talented people on that run. And,
wow.
And I just sort of found I like this business. I like this industry. And we met SWV when they were recording. It was just a lot. And it was a time when Uptown Records was rocking. So Heavy D, Father MC, Mary J. Blige. It was just, it was a
Diddy
cool.
was doing his thing.
Yeah, so it was just a cool time to be down. And when Jodeci stopped touring, I went out with Mary as her bodyguard. And then from Mary, I went to SWV. SWV, I went to Shy. And then along the way, I met Queen Latifah and her partner, Shakim.
Right.
And they offered me a job to come work for them and be a manager. No more bodyguard work, no more road manager work.
So she gave you your first shot.
My first shot.
A management slot.
To step up and be a manager.
Because the whole time, let me get this right. So the whole time that you're in, you're a roadie, then you started being a manager, being a
bodyguard,
security guy, and bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning from other managers that you're interacting with.
Mm-hmm.
So you're learning what goes on as a role as a manager as you go along.
Yes.
So something inside of Queen made her give you the opportunity to manage.
Her partner Shakim had seen me on the road and so I went from bodyguard to road manager, which is you're like the junior manager on the road.
Right. You managing all the.
And so I was out on the road with a bunch of artists. So Shakim knew me, and I had a good reputation, and people knew that I could move artists and be a bodyguard. So I had a nice thing. By that time, I was making like $3,500 a week.
Okay, so
that's what it's paying.
In the early '90s.
Yeah, that's good money.
Good money. Yeah,
and I'm still only like 23.
Oh yeah, you roll.
Yeah, I'm having a good time, and I'm not really spending my money because I'm on the road.
All the perks from the road.
So I'm having a good time.
In nice hotels. You're on the tour bus.
I'm thinking I'm living the life. Right. And Shakim told me something that was very prophetic, because eventually it led to I had to sell him the same thing. He told me I was never going to get rich working for somebody else.
Oh wow.
And what he meant was, you're going to keep being people's bodyguards, they're going to keep paying you.
Right.
But as management, you get a percentage.
You can be well.
Yes.
You do well, but you're not going to get
rich. And so that triggered the thought. And so I went to work with him at Flavor Unit, him and Latifah. And my first group that he gave me was, they gave me 2 groups. He gave me an artist named Nonchalant.
Okay.
She had a record called 5 o'clock in the morning.
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, where you gonna be? Outside on the corner.
Yeah.
That's Nonchalant.
Okay, I remember.
And the Fushnikins.
Okay.
And so with that little run, I was running with the Fushnikins. Shaq was a Fushnikin, so we was traveling with him.
Yeah.
It was just a really good time to be learning. And I was just soaking up and not just being happy to be in a room, but really learning and listening and seeing how people moved and studying. And I like management, and
it was natural for you.
It just it was natural. Being from road manager to manager was a natural transition.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to be working with for one of the best managers in the game at the time. Flavor Unit was rocking.
Right.
Flavor Unit was the place to be.
Right.
And I eventually became president of Flavor Unit Management.
Oh wow.
And so now we're
how
rocking.
How long did that take
Probably
place
took
from
me,
the time you did the road trip with KC and JoJo to now you're managing?
About 3 years.
Wow, that's fast.
3 years. We were moving 3 years.
Man.
It was 3 years because in 1994, Shakim and I came to Atlanta because Latifah had gotten Monica Arnold's demo tape.
Yeah, from Monica here from the A.
Monica from there. And she wanted us to come down here and get Monica from management.
Right.
So me and Shakim flew in to get Monica from management, went with her family, the whole 9. And while we were down here, we were on our way back, we stopped at LaFace Records. Shakim wanted to say what's up to LA, just see what was going on. And LA told us about a group he had called Outkast. And he was like, I got this new rap group. I know you guys do the rap thing because
they didn't really have many rap artists.
LaFace wasn't the rap. Yeah, that was. He didn't really know what to do. Yeah, it was an R&B label.
Yeah.
So he was like, well, you guys are Flavor Unit. You had Naughty by Nature. You got the Fushnikins. Like, y'all know this rap game. I think they'd be good with you. So we ended up getting Outkast on that trip. So on a faithful trip to Atlanta in 1994, I got Outkast and Monica.
Wow.
And that changed the trajectory.
Because Outkast blew up.
Outkast, Monica, the first album we went platinum, and Outkast was doing their thing, and we started that run. And so for the next 12 years, 13 years, I managed Outkast their whole career.
Wow.
And so that's what most people know me from managing Outkast. But in that time, I left Flavor Unit at one point because the same thing Shakim told me was also true. I was never going to get rich working for someone else.
So you went out
and so I went out on my own management company, Family Tree. Yeah. Outkast left with me, Donnell Jones, a bunch of artists that were there.
Wow.
And over the next 25 years, I managed Outkast, Donnell Jones, Jagged Edge, Case, Macy Gray, Big Sean, CeeLo Green, Cody Simpson, Eric Benet, just a who's who of artists, Life Jennings, just a who's who of 90s, 2000s music.
Yeah, man.
Really made some strong brands and really helped to shape the hip hop and R&B music scene from that time.
Wow, that's deep, man. You have a heavy duty portfolio of artists that you've worked with, man, and actually helped to change the trajectory of their lives and careers. So, with all that being said, I've often wondered, in all of that, right? In the comparison to what we see now, like you named some timeless people in that group, right? Compared to what's happening now, there's a big switch because now you have artists who can become famous by just making a video or doing some beats, and they can get a bunch of likes, get a bunch of following on social media, and like blow up from that, and then go and like just go directly into the industry, and they like blowing up. So with that, like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. It seems like there's been like a shift in the talent, in like there was a time you had to really know how to rip. Like you had to, you know, I mean, 3,000, Big Boy, them guys, you know, they could rap. Like they're talented. Now, a lot of cats, now thanks to a lot of cats that can actually put out some hell of a beats, I think that saves a lot, but there's a lot lacking when it comes to what I see in actual artistic creativity.
Yeah,
because it is an art form, right?
It's an art form. It's a business.
So it's a big difference now, right?
There's a huge difference because for such a long time, it was a talent-driven business.
Yes.
And it's not a talent-driven business right now. Right now, it's a popularity contest.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got the most likes, the followers, who's TikToks.
Right.
And so talent has taken almost a second or third position, which when you do that, the quality of music is going to be affected. Right. What you're going to get. And that's what the game is now. And it's not as, that's why we're not making as many stars, and that's why the music feels so disposable. Mm-hmm. The music was never disposable back then.
No.
It was not. And it's hard, and I get it for an artist. If you're a real artist these days and you try and put out an album, think about it. When we were coming up,
right,
an album, you knew the album. You knew from the beginning to end. You got the album. You listened to the whole album. You might have skips,
right,
but you listened to an album, and an artist took the time to sequence the album in a way that would tell the story they wanted to tell.
Right.
In today's game, that's not what it is, because it ends up on Apple Music or Spotify or one of those,
right, and
then it gets listened to in all type of random order based on, well, people have already listened to that one, so you listen to number 2, then number 11, then number 6.
Right.
You don't get the body of work that a lot of artists try to create for you to experience.
Right, and just let you flow through it.
Yeah, you just go randomly and stuff like that. So
right.
The game has changed, and at a time when there's probably more money. Hip hop is never been more commercial, and it's never been more ways to monetize the music as there is now.
Right, that's what it is. It's about the monetization.
It's become the monetization.
So it's all about getting attention and creating that.
Say and do anything you can to get the clicks, the likes, the eyeballs on you.
Right, right.
But at the same time,
commercialize it.
But you don't know who the artists are. Like
exactly.
On top of it, so now at least we had Word Up Magazine, we had Vibe, we had things. Yeah, we learned who our artists were by reading articles. There's none of that. So now we're reading blogs, and the blogs don't care to tell you the story about the artist. They need, salacious things, so they're trying to find the clickbait.
Wow.
And so now you're chasing artists based on who their baby mama is, or if they got arrested, or what drama, whatever.
Right.
And so it's created a disposable artist mentality and disposable music. It's like a song.
Right.
And it's not this amazing album that I needed to listen to, and it marks a place in my life. Like I remember Slick Rick's first album. I'll never forget where I was, where my life was at the first time I heard The Great Adventures of Slick Rick.
No, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Certain now, people will always remember the first time they heard a Wu-Tang album, or the first time they heard certain albums. That's not what it is these days, because it's disposable and it's so fast.
Right.
The cycle of music lasting is so, and so I think that it's having an effect. And I also think that because rap was so easy to make and so quick, we took, or a lot of love has been taken out of our music. Right. And I think that we're starting to see the results of that and the damage that it can do in our community. Because when there's no love in your music, when there's no love in your community, and everything is bang bang shoot 'em up and just talking crazy to women and stuff like that, and it starts to reflect in the relationships and this culture where what do you bring to the table, and it's just a different time, because we grew up listening to love songs. We grew up listening to romance, and and that's not what these kids are listening to.
Nah. As I said when I opened the show, I like to get into the real stuff. This is real deep stuff. But the question I have is, along the way, all of that stuff, all of the artists, all of the fame, all of the great albums and the work, the body of work of music that came out underneath your management platform, through all of that, at what point did you see things? Because I always talk about, for you guys don't know, I like to talk about being hit in the mouth. And what I mean by being hit in the mouth is, and I can speak on this because I've been there, the comeback. Like, you're doing well, everything's looking great, flying high, all of a sudden, boom, something happens. And for those who are watching, always remember, money is one of the most false sense of security that you can have, because it can take you years to accumulate wealth. Mm-hmm. It can only take one event to take you out, and it can happen overnight.
Quick.
I've experienced success in business. I was never in the entertainment industry. I was just in the business industry, and I experienced success in my 30s, and I did really well. And then I went through a transition where I got hit in the mouth, right? But let's talk about being hit in the mouth. Like, all this is going on. You're rolling. Like, you are rolling, and like, Airbnb, right? I'm rolling, rush count management, man. Who you rolling with? You rolling, right? So what transpired? What was the transition? Where did something start happening? Did the industry just change? Did something happen in your life? What changed from that?
So as a manager, you get hit in the mouth a lot because artists aren't always loyal, and
Right.
you lose artists for reasons that have nothing to do with you. The new boyfriend doesn't like you, or
Wow.
they got a new lawyer and the lawyer wants to get his manager. And so
Right.
management as a job consists of a lot of PTSD. And so you take a
Wow.
lot because you got to remember, sometimes you find artists when no one knows them,
Right.
and you carry them to where they wanted to go.
And then all of a
And
sudden,
then with success, you got the label in their ear telling them, well, maybe you should get another manager,
Right.
or family thinks you should be like, as the manager, I tell people, you're the first person they blame, you're the last person they thank.
wow.
That is your life. They will get up on stage at an award show and they will thank their barber.
Everybody.
They'll thank their barber, the guy who washes their cars 3 times a week. And after the show, be like, oh man, I forgot to thank you. Nigga, you're here because I carried you from the little
That's
spot I saw
crazy.
you in. So, and then
Was
they'll
it
leave.
because you're so you think it's because almost like with a spouse or with a person that's close to you, okay, if you have a spouse, like they say the person that you love the most
You take
catch the most grief and the most heat. So maybe because as a manager you working so close with this artist, I mean you got them when they're coming from nothing, so you feeding them. Like I know some cats that manage people, and they sleeping on their couch. They're carrying them, right? And then all of a sudden, I guess when they get, is you think that's kind of like some of the reason?
It's some of the
because you're
reason.
so close to them.
It's some of the reasons. Also, as the manager, you're the easiest person to blame for everything.
Yeah.
So and people talk, and so you have an artist, and your artist is doing okay. It's just you and artist when you first started.
Right.
Now they got a hit record, a hit single. They ain't even hot yet, but they got a hit single.
Right. They got
Then
the buzz.
people like I found that people want to talk to artists just so they can say they talked to an artist. They ain't really got nothing to say. And sometimes in trying to just be like talking to an artist, they'll say, "Oh man, I wanted to book you for a show," and the artist will be like, "Well, what happened?" "Oh, your manager never got back to you," and really,
might not even be
he
true.
never reached out or nothing like that.
Oh, wow.
But everyone's blaming you for everything. Like when the label says they can't do something, it's your manager's fault. When the booking agent claims it's your manager's fault. You're the person that gets blamed for everything.
Wow. Okay.
And some artists sometimes start to believe the hype, or they start to believe that, oh, I did this, you didn't really do this, I can do this with anybody management. It's just, there's a lot of dynamics that are really based more on their background, on their upbringing. Some of the stuff that doesn't come out until you get some money and you get success and you see.
Now
A lot of artists don't like to pay you. When you didn't have no money and they needed to rent money, they calling you, yo, I need $1,000 for my rent. You going in your pocket, you going in your savings.
Right.
Now they got a record out, and the record's out, and boom, we making $20,000 a show. My management commission is 20% of that, so you owe me $4,000.
Right.
You get some artists that get tight with that $4,000, like they don't want to pay commission. They act like, well, what exactly did you do? Or you just took a call and now you make $4,000. No, I got you to the point where somebody's going to call you.
This is the reason why you're getting the call.
But that's what comes with management. And so in a management situation, there are a lot of managers that have that, they get fired for the wrong reason, things don't go right. So you kind of, as I became bigger and big enough and having spent time in Flavor Unit, you learn to take those little punches. Jab here, jab there. You learn to shake those off.
Right.
But the punch that knocked me down and changed my life was at the top of Outkast's career, we just won a Grammy for the best album. We're the biggest rap group in the world. Everything is at our disposal. We can do everything.
Right.
3,000 decided he wasn't going to tour. He didn't want to go on the road. And so for a manager,
tired,
this is your time. Yeah, he wanted to do other things. He was tired. It was just like, wanted to act and all types of stuff.
Right.
But as a manager, this is the equivalent of you built your company up for 12 years. This is your flip. You're at the top. You're supposed to go out on the road and tour and make your money.
Right. This is when the
This
money.
is where the money's at. This is what you've been building up to.
Especially for the manager.
Yeah, everybody. This is what you've been committed to.
Right.
But he didn't want to go. And so at the top and the height of our success, when we're supposed to be making the most money, we sitting at home, not making money. So in a short version, I tell people I lost $25 million in 1 year. You don't know many people that have lost $25 million in 1 year, legally, and didn't do anything wrong. None of you did. You literally did everything you were supposed to do. You met some guys in 1994 and you told them you were going to take them to the top. And you spent the next 12 years getting them to the top. And when you got to the top, one of them decided he didn't want to go and get the money. And there's nothing you can do about it.
No.
Beating his ass ain't going to do nothing.
He's a millionaire.
I mean, just
and
anything.
He's creative and he's good. Everybody knows him.
You got to respect him, though.
Right. You got to respect him. Right.
And so.
Right. Because he has that right to say that.
He has that right.
Yeah.
So you got to eat it. You just got to eat it.
So in contracts, you don't have it where, like, you can have in a contract, they got to produce, like with the label, you got to produce a certain amount of albums or whatever.
You can't make an artist tour.
But you can't make an artist.
You can't make any artist go on the road.
You can't make them go on the road.
No. You can't make an artist get on stage and perform.
Right.
It's not something that happens.
Right. It's not in the contract.
So you eat it.
Wow.
And you sit and you think about, well, could I have done something different? What was it like? It triggered my first bout of depression. It was the first time that I dealt with depression.
Yep. Now, here we go. Point. This is the elephant in the room that a lot of people won't talk about. We've had shows about this on the Power Up Man platform where we talked about depression. I've even talked about my bouts with depression, and I have to still catch myself, watch myself very closely. Mm-hmm. Now, people find it hard to believe. They're like, oh, man, can you do that? How's that, tricky, man? You got all kinds of, you got businesses, you got cars and houses and this. That doesn't matter, because depression, what most people don't know, Blue, and we've had medical professionals on our platform that talked about this, and we're going to talk about it more because that's the elephant in the room that people want to talk about: depression, mental illness, all that stuff. But guess what? There are people walking around. Tell me if I'm wrong. People walking around, and especially a lot of men.
Mm-hmm. A lot of men.
A lot of men are walking around in a depressed state, fully functioning.
Yes.
Doing shows. I'm talking about people who are your favorite artist, your favorite actor, actress, right? Performing, doing all the stuff, smiling, getting Grammys, getting Emmys, all that, right? And guess what? Depressed. In some state of depression.
Yeah.
Talk about yours, man. I talked about mine before.
Mine was a dark place because it was conflicting in I had to respect my client and his wishes in one hand. I also didn't feel like it was anybody's business. We weren't going to put our business out there like that. It was just kind of, if you knew, you knew. You didn't know. So it was a part of just kind of dealing with yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, we're black men. A lot of times we're not supposed to show any weakness.
Nope.
A lot of people just assume that you're getting your money because they're not in your life. They just think.
Right, they're from outside looking in.
So people are thinking that you're getting your money and you're really not.
Right.
And then you have to see some of your friends. I'm friends with Chris Lighty, rest in peace, my old partner. Yeah. Paul Rosenberg, the Evangelist Eminem. These are guys that I'm friends with.
Right.
Shaka, the Evangelist Luda. So while I'm also sitting at home not making money, I'm seeing M get out and get his money. I'm seeing 50 come and get his money. I'm seeing Luda. I'm watching my peers go get their money.
Right.
So I'm sitting at home
watching,
angry,
like the
sad.
parade's going by.
Yeah, and it's like no one to really talk to. So shit, you turn to drugs, you turn to women, you just start trying to self-medicate.
Self-medicate.
And you sit around and you get depressed, and one day you get really dark and you think about, well, maybe it's just ain't even worth the trouble, and you might pick up a gun and think about it.
Something to tell you in your ear, and we all know what that something is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what? It's better if you just go to sleep.
Yeah, you don't feel like doing this.
And see how all the people who didn't do right by you, how they gonna feel when you at there, feel like you're gonna be sitting there. Well, maybe we are in the spirit realm. We don't know. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. You know, see how they feel when they're standing at your casket. All the people who didn't do right by you. Mm-hmm. It is better. And man, ain't it just better just to go on and go to sleep?
You got to catch yourself. No, you're right.
That's real deal.
You got to catch yourself, and that's when, like you said, can you take a punch? And so you take that hit, and you spend 2 years in your house playing video games, getting high, eating donuts, pizzas, kicking, just whatever you're doing, just to not deal with it.
Right, trying to push it to the side.
And then you got to get up one day because you done lost 3 of your houses, and you're in your last house, and they're about to come get that one. You done lost your cars because you just ain't taking care of your business. You're burnt. And then you got to get up, and you got to get back on your feet and dust yourself off. Yeah. And now what? And so I started with, like in 2009, I went to a company called Primary Wave, and I found Big Sean. And I found this white kid in Australia named Cody Simpson. And I started to pull myself out, and I started to build Primary Waves Management Company and kind of just start to get it rocking again. In 2010, CeeLo called me and was like, yo, I got this record, the label just is gonna mess it up. I don't think they know what to do with it. Right. And I was like, what's the record? He played it for me, and it was Fuck You.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, what's the deal? So we came up with a plan, and we worked Fuck You, and we made Fuck You one of the biggest records in the world. Right. And CeeLo worked, and we ran around the country, and boom, I'm back. 2011, we back, baby. We rocking, and we doing everything. CeeLo's on The Voice. 2012 hits out the blue, and Dre's mother, Miss Benjamin, passes away, who was like the rock of our Outkast family. Oh, wow. And then a few months later, Chris Lighty passes away. And I had just done a partnership with Chris to bring Violated, us together. Chris and I decided that, it would be good to see two strong black men that at one point had been competitors to partner up and show leadership. Right. And both those things hit me hard. Like, both of those things really threw me back off my balance, and kind of got hit with a bunch of other things in life, and ended up leaving Primary Wave in like 2014. So I got off my feet and then got knocked down again about 3 or 4 years later. Right. And so then it was time to get back up again. And part of that, in those times, I had to learn to understand that one, depression wasn't gone. It wasn't something that just kind of always lurks.
No, it always lurks.
It's always lurking and always waiting for an opportunity. That's right. to pull you in. Right. And what I also realized was that when I would open up about dealing with depression and being honest about it, I found that brothers gravitated to listen, and they were like seeing me be honest about dealing with depression, like you. Is when like people see people that look like them, people that they perceive as being strong and everything, going through things and surviving them with their head up and doing it a certain way, it can be encouraging. So ever since, I've just always been an advocate to speak on mental health, depression. I advocate for black men to get therapy. That's right. I think that we don't do enough therapy in our community. For some reason, people don't think it's I don't want no therapist. It's not cool. It's something that the black family, there's a stigma we really have that we got to get over.
Yeah, I never understood.
Yeah, we don't do that. We don't
break your ankle, you go to the doctor.
So your brain is hurting. Why not go?
You got to get reset.
And all you're doing is going to talk to somebody, right. and maybe you get some advice. Man. Yeah, so that's right. I've always advocated for that. And then I also realized how many of my peers in the industry are hiding their pain and things like that through self-medication. So I've tried to open myself up to be there when I see people struggling, because I learned to see beyond the stuff. That's right. So I know when I hear someone got fired, I know what they're going through. So I'll reach out
Right.
And when I hear something happen to someone that everyone else in the industry is going to hop over and keep going,
Right.
I try and check in. You
Yes.
all right? You going through it? I heard you went through a divorce. You going because those check-ins as black men are what we have to do more of.
Exactly.
We have
You
to.
know, we have a, I don't know why this is. And I actually did a piece on, am I my brother's keeper?
Mm-hmm.
Because in most cases, we're not. It's like, and I think it could come from the programming that came from Jim Crow and some of that. I can actually, you know, put
You can
some
trace it
blame
back,
on that,
yeah.
trace it back. But come on now, like, okay, you're intelligent, brother. I am. Like, so thank God I was just taught not to be a hater.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was taught just not to be a hater. You know, I was taught to, like, you know, celebrate other cats. You know, not everybody, you know, is going to be on the same level all the time. Like, you know, you're doing, you know, not everybody's going to be rich. Not everybody's going to be wealthy. You know, so like if somebody is, then, you know, that's them. Hey, thank God for them. Like, hey, that's good stuff. You know, but don't tear each other down.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, what I find is us as I know this for fact for black men, there's for some odd reason, even if you, now this is the part that hurts the most. For some odd reason, even some of the people that are closest to you, family, the ones that you look out for a lot of times,
Yeah.
are the very ones who are not. It's almost like they
Envy.
want you to be. They like what you can do with your accomplishments, but it's almost like you have a certain group. Not everybody. They're kind of like waiting for you to like trip up.
Oh yeah, people are always
So they'll celebrate it like, oh,
they build you up.
oh, he's tripped up now. You know, he messed up now. Like, come on, man. Like, really?
They build you up to chop you down. That's what I always tell people. The build up when you buy. Never believe your own hype. Don't read your own press, because all that's built to get you onto this pedestal, so you get a kick from under you, and then that's where they get you. But our problem as a people is we let outside forces pit us against each other.
That's exactly what
In every area. Really, at the end of the day, rappers aren't in competition. There's enough fans. Like, why do y'all actually have beef? There's 300 million people in the United States of America. We're all trying to get enough fans. So why, if you can find 1 million that like what you do,
Right.
and you can find 1 million that like what you do,
Right.
why are we beefing? Same thing in sports, though.
And fans, all right, I was a Mike fan, Michael Jackson fan, right? But I'm also a Prince fan. You can have a fan that likes more than one artist. You can have the same fan base.
But we
You don't even have to compete. Like,
we compete though.
it's the same people.
We compete, but we compete in everything. We have allowed people to pit us, the black men against black women. We've allowed people
Young
to
against
pit
the old,
young
the light against
old.
the dark.
Now the newest beef. I just saw something the other day, and I was so bothered by it because it was so ridiculous. So there's this battle still going on between anti-vaxxers and people that got the vaccine, right? And so I saw somebody I know the other day post, and this is crazy because I was like, wow. So first of all, a week ago, Dr. Fauci testified. Like, I'm going to take it all the way here. Dr. Fauci testified in front of Congress. He said some things. Right-wing media twisted what he said up to make it seem like he admitted that it was all some sham or whatever. Not what he said, but as usual, we don't read past the clickbait. Right. Then the other day, a friend of mine posted, and behind Dr. Fauci's words being twisted, there were a lot of posts, and a bunch of people that were against the vaccine all jumped on social media and was like, yeah, we told y'all he was playing. And I was like, what are you saying? Like, at the end of the day, there was a pandemic. No one knew what was going to work. Some people tried it. Some people didn't. Like, what is going on? And so I let that go. Then 2 nights ago, I saw somebody I know, they posted about this guy who in 2021 was like, if you don't want to feel like you're being picked on, ostracized, just go get the damn vaccine. That was his post or whatever. And Then the next page, this guy just died. Like say June 1st, he died. His wife posted that he had died due to an illness, blah, blah, blah. This person I know then posted his first post back in 21, his wife saying this, and then overdub music, another one bites the dust. And then in her section, she talked about, see, we told y'all we were right. Y'all shouldn't have been. And I hit her. I was like, so now we're cheering people dying with no proof that it's connected to the vaccine or whatever, because that's where we are now as people. And that's what the problem is.
Find something to
we're
separate.
always being separated.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj has had an amazing career.
Right.
She heralded in another level for female rappers.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason for her to be beefing with
Cardi
Cardi or anything. But people allow people to divide. I managed Monica, Brandy. It wasn't, Brandy and Monica never had, but people always create. And that's what the problem is as black people, we have to at some point take back control of the narrative. We have to be like, look, that is my brother. His success, unless he does something directly to hinder mine, I should be cheering him. I should be happy when you win. That I meet you and you're a successful black man here in the Black Mecca, I should cheer you on for success.
I don't know, Blue. I haven't figured it out yet.
It's that crap in the
I
barrel.
like that's why I have this platform, because I want to talk about this type stuff, because I want to get to the root of it, and I want to make a difference. I want to bring about thought process for the ones who like you and I, who don't think like that. But like at least let people understand when they have that feeling that comes over them, when they're feeling some kind of way about another person that hadn't done anything but just work hard to handle their business, right? At least maybe this conversation will bring about a thought that somebody can say, well, wait a minute, why am I hating on this person? And maybe they'll seek change or go talk to a therapist. There's nothing wrong. I feel great when I talk to the therapist. Man, like I let a weight off I should make an appointment soon because it feels great. I mean, you feel, it's like you go get an adjustment at a chiropractor. You feel better, like you get an adjustment. So, Blue, I don't get it. I'm still trying to figure it out. And the problem is, a lot of times they're hating on you and they start creating narrative.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they start to imagine. Sometimes you're going through a storm. It may look all good, but you're getting your ass kicked too. But sometimes when you're getting blessed and your stuff is rolling and you're handling your business, it makes it look way easier than it really is. So they think that I've been told, oh, he's just lucky.
Luck is
they
always,
keep saying yeah, okay, he's just lucky. Oh, he just got that contract because he was lucky. And then you get another contract, oh, he was just lucky again. And then you get another one, oh, well, he just keep getting lucky. How much luck do I have? Like, can you give me some credit that like, this baby, the product is like the industry, look, creativity. There was a time, even in your industry, I've always said this. If your product is good, if you have integrity, you have good work ethic, you take care of the business. Take care of the business first.
Yes.
Your product stands for itself. Some days you might just jump up and say, man, I just want a Big Mac. You know what the Big Mac tastes like. You know the Big Mac brand. You just want it, right? So you go to it, right? They didn't call you. You go to it. So if you got a good product, you take care of your business, they'll come. Like everything was coming to you because say, all right, Blue is taking care of the business. They, like you said, no, you never know who's watching you. Even when you don't think people are watching you, they are watching you. And that's why it is so important. Up and coming people and people who are in business now. You never know who's watching you, even when you don't know they're watching. So you take care of the business even when no one is watching. Because if you're doing what you're supposed to do, integrity, do what you say, mean what you say, handle the business, the product is going to stand for itself, and the industry will find you. The industry will find you. Because there's so many people who operate in the mediocre space that if you operate above that wavelength,
You're gonna shine.
You're head and shoulders above everybody else. So they're going to come to you because you're up here and everybody else is mediocre.
But people, I think it does. I think sometimes it has to go back to slavery, because I think this is just a theory. There were only so many slots in the house.
In the house.
In the house. In the big house.
Right. In about right.
So
Which was
Negroes
a good job.
in the fields
Right.
were always competing to get in the house.
Right.
And so there was a lot of probably positioning and talking to the man and telling him like such and such is doing this.
Right.
And that carried out into the real world. And
Right.
so when your competition is jealous of your contracts, not understanding like there's a lot of contracts around. We're not in a finite space. Now if you're in a place with finite resources or a finite income, then maybe we're competing.
Right, exactly.
But we're not competing being two black men. And what's worse is when we ain't in the same business and you hating. Like, wait a minute.
What are we competing about?
Why are we hating? Like, as managers, I used to tell, and I talk to young managers, I tell young managers even to this day, look, if you got questions, if you're not sure what's going on, my DM, my Instagram is the check finder. You can hit me in my DM. I answer questions all day long because the knowledge that I've garnered was not meant for me to take with me.
Right.
And the other thing I'll tell anybody, I can tell you exactly how to do it. That don't mean you can do what I do.
Yes.
You ain't me. You ain't got you gotta have work ethic.
That's
you gotta
right.
have insight. You gotta be
And it may not be for you.
That's it.
That's the next thing. You and I can be doing the same thing. We can be in the same business at the same time,
doing it
and have
totally
the same
different
product to the same audience.
Yep.
And yours, you may do better than me because it's just your time. Or I always got to go here. I'm a believer, so. It's just your blessing. It's for you.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you are you and I am who I am. Well, just maybe, you just may be a little selfish. Or you may self-destruct if you make this amount of money.
Yeah, or it's not your time yet.
Or it's not your time yet. It may be your time 5 years down the road.
Exactly.
And you may go bigger than everybody if you hang tight with it. So take the energy off of me.
And focus on your business.
I always say this. Bruce Lee said this. He said you should be your own best self-study. Meaning, like what he did. Okay, he's a small man, right? He was small, right? And most people think if you're small, then you may be weak and you can be easily overtaken. But that's not necessarily true. Well, he was small, but he was very strong. And if you're small, you can be fast. So you can use what most people think is a negative and turn it into a positive and exploit that thing because you've studied yourself. Know who you are. Be real with yourself. Know your gifts. Know what comes easy to you. Which some things I heard you talking on an interview. Some profound stuff you said. You're saying that you want to train. That's one thing I liked about you. You care about people. I've noticed time and time again, people are saying you care about people. Like, instead of like trying to manage cats and just exploit them and just take everything, right? Like, keep cats on drugs, keep them high. The way I hear it, You want to educate cats. Don't just make the money and blow through it and then be broke. Make the money, sustain some money, create some
generational wealth and
generational wealth. Take this money, create some businesses, and now you got some machines working all over the place. So now the machine is working even when you're not working. When you're asleep, you're still making money. And you don't have to be touring hard. You don't have to be working hard. If you're an athlete, when your career is over, you still got things going on. Let's talk about that, man, because I've seen where you want to deal with your artists differently, like train them, like about attorneys and legal.
An educated, I believe that an educated artist is the best artist to have. I think that, the great relationship that Shakim and Queen Latifah have is that they're always on the same page. And they talk about what the plan is in the bigger play. Right. So that even if they're not together, if Latifah's in a room in LA, because her and Shah are on the same page, if Dana sees the head of Paramount Pictures and she talks to him, because her and Shakim are on the same page, she knows to talk up the talk show they might want to do, or she knows to talk up the series she might be open to doing, because they're on the same page and they've talked about what the bigger play is. I've always talked to my artists about what the bigger plan is long term, because we have to have a destination,
right? And
we need to have a plan to do it. And if you just living your life, getting on stage singing when I tell you where to sing, and you spending money, and the only thing I get is calls from you, oh, I need $30,000. What'd you do with the last $100,000? Oh, I spent that on this. I'm not doing my job right. My job
as a manager,
as a real manager,
right,
is to help you grow as an artist and as a human being.
Basically be like a life coach as well.
I am coach, I am teacher, right. I am father, I am counselor, I am all these things
and
when I'm doing the job right.
And you will put somebody
you lean and get somebody else to it. And so you teach your artists. That's why when I'm working with artists, I don't pick the lawyer or the business manager for my artists, because that's where conflicts are. A lot of people do that because it's like, oh, I'm gonna pick a lawyer or a manager I know because they in pocket with me. And if they in pocket with me, boom, I ain't never gonna get fired.
Yeah,
but the lawyer might be mediocre or might not be the level of lawyer you need to get your artist where you want to. But because you chose to make sure you didn't get fired, your artist never gets the legal representation he needs to reach. So I don't do that. I know lawyers. I'll give you 3 lawyers. Go meet them. Pick who you want.
And you pick them.
You pick them. Go meet 3 accountants. Pick who you want.
Yeah, because
you know why?
Blame you.
Because you can't blame me when there's a problem.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah, so I don't pick that.
Guy, an accountant, he burned me and everybody else I recommended.
See? So
all right, so if it's on me, that's on me, but I feel bad when he got you too.
Yeah, so let me give you the choice.
And I'm the one who recommended him.
Yeah, so you get the choice, and then you try. You have to understand sometimes, coming from a management position, you have to kind of understand where your artists are coming from. Did they come from a stable family? Did they come from a broken family? Have they ever had $50, like, so that you can kind of guide, because education is longevity.
Right.
When artists can realize, hey, I'm here not just about this one-hit record that I always wanted. Now, how does this become a 20-year career? How do I do it? Because you have to explain to them, hey, we need to own these masters. We can go re-record this. As a manager, I feel that my job is to teach, but not just the artists I work with, other managers. I'm from a different era of management. When one of us, Shakim, Chris, like Kadar, all these people, when we would go into a building, if you ran into Motown and you got $1 million for your artist,
right, and
you sold 800,000 records,
right,
you supposed to come out and tell me I got $1 million out of them for this, so that I can either go into LaFace and be like, they paying this much, or I can go in the building. Yeah, but why are we keeping it a secret?
That's to be. They say it's to be sold, not told.
But that's the problem.
That's
why
the
the
problem.
music industry is like that.
None of us have all of the money. I don't know any of the artists or any of us in business that the last name is Rothschild.
No.
And even though the Rothschilds, you know the family that I'm talking about, and
the
some of the other
Kennedys
families,
and some of
Kennedys and some of the, the Rockefellers. Even with all of the money they have, they don't have all the money.
No.
So
But
why
they know how
are
to keep
you?
it, they know how to keep it in the family.
They do.
They know how to say, look, some of
Right.
your income's always going to go into the family stuff, and you're going
right.
to communicate with each other, and this person's going to hire you, or you're going to marry this person.
That's right.
And like some of these families have inbred themselves to
Yes.
keep the money and everything.
Yeah, married
We-
cousins, second cousins.
we ain't
all
doing that.
Yeah,
Like-
they did it to keep the money. That's how the raw.
The music industry is such a. So the problem with the music industry, I'm gonna do a quick breakdown of why the music industry is so screwed up, right? So in the NFL, right now we're going through this wide receiver getting money period. The wide
Right.
receivers all getting paid, right?
Right, they getting paid, right?
But like say CD Lamb right now, Justin Jefferson just got a $140 million deal, right?
Right.
Justin Jefferson isn't going to go in, and even though he may not just CD Lamb, even though he may like playing for the Cowboys or whatever, he's not going to go in and take 137 or 138 because he understands it's his responsibility, even if he gets $1 more than Justin Jefferson, to advance the wide receiver position, right? So him asking for more money isn't necessarily about showing Justin Jefferson up like I'm more. We all have a responsibility to advance the position so
Right.
we can hit these owners' pockets.
Right, because they're making billions.
They're making billions. The
Right.
music industry, unfortunately, has always been you get jerked, so you jerk the next person you sign thing, and it never gets out of the way because
Oh, wow.
this person got jerked,
Dog
so
eat dog.
they give out a whack contract to the next artist they sign, and then that artist, when they get on, they give their artist a whack deal. And so we're always stepping on each other's necks instead of lifting up and giving out fair deals. So and it's so accepted and so well that's just business that's why artists are even still in the positions that they are and why we don't have as much power as we have.
Wow.
You have superstars that don't write on records. But because they're superstars, if you and I write a record and this superstar comes in, it was like, well, you want this record on my album, so I want 15% of the publisher. Well, you didn't write nothing. But, well, if you don't want to give me the publishing, then you won't be on my record. And so we are constantly out here taking from each other, and that's why there's no unity. And,
Right.
and so it's important that some of these things that are being done in the dark and have become norms in the industry have to start being spoken out on in public forums, on pods, because you have to start speaking on them so
Right.
the light will be shined on it.
That's right.
And then you can start to make some changes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the place where I'm 54 years old now. I've had an amazing career. I have done my part. I will be a part of hip hop history. I'm not worried about that. But now I'm at a place where I realize that C. Dolores Tucker, if you don't know who C. Dolores Tucker is, you can look her up. She was this black lady back in the early 90s who came out attacking hip hop. She attacked, there's a misogyny in hip hop and all this is bad. At the time, she was just some lady attacking us. So we all pushed back, fuck you.
Right.
In hindsight, I can honestly say she was right. That our music, we were not being responsible with our music,
Right.
and that she was the wrong messenger. But the message
Was correct.
was very correct. And
Okay.
that when you call women bitches and hoes and you talk about shooting and you put all this negativity
Yeah.
into your community,
Right.
and you don't realize that there would never be a white sexy red. Ever. You'll never see a white sexy red. You can have Eminem who can joke around and say crazy things,
Right.
but you'll never see
Someone saying the stuff that she says.
even you'll never see
representing
the things
themselves
that
like that.
we say.
Right,
You
about
can't
each
get on
other,
white
right.
radio and say
Nah.
what we say
can't do
about
it.
ourselves.
Right.
White people won't let that happen.
No, they won't.
So at a certain point, we have to be able to be like, yo, we're doing, something's wrong. Why is it okay for us to do, but not okay for them to do? Well, maybe we miscalculate, but again,
As long as you get that check.
but in our defense, I tell people all the time, we were some young niggas with new money. I tell them in a minute. Nigga, ain't nobody tell me what to do with my first $1 million. The blacks that had money, the John Johnsons, people that owned jets, all them black people that had money in the 70s and
Right.
80s, they looked at us like we were some dirty niggas when we got money. So didn't nobody show us how to handle our money.
Oh, wow.
So we got trapped in the same thing that the music industry. We went to business managers or people that our labels or people told us about.
Right.
But the game is this. Same thing with the NBA. They've finally gotten out of it a lot. Jerry Buss is the reason Magic Johnson is who he is. Because he was an owner that was cool enough to tell Magic, here, get this business manager.
Right.
And I'm going to show you how to get money.
Right.
And Magic, listen.
Right. When you get
Other
out of
owners,
the league.
yeah, when you out of the league, I'm going to show you how to do. You're going to buy into stuff.
Exactly. Right.
Other owners like put their players with business managers that basically never told them no, rubber stamped everything. Players were broke. When it's time to renegotiate, they can throw the players a little bit of money. Music industry, same way. Labels put you with business managers or lawyers that they can manipulate and control. So your business manager's just yesing you to death. At the end of the time, your money runs out. You got to go back to the label, ask for more money. Now you're on this label's nipple because you don't know how to become independent.
Now you're on breast milk.
And now you're on the breast milk and you can't seem to get off it. Those practices should die. The NBA is changing. You have a generation where LeBrons and the D Wades, you see all of them, they're doing businesses.
Yeah.
But that's not what we do in hip hop.
All the Shaqs,
We
man,
kind
you guys
of
getting it in.
yeah, but we ain't in hip hop. We kind of doing some, but not as much as we should.
Right.
We just spent 2 weeks infatuated with Drake and Kendrick Lamar going back and forth.
Right.
Let me be totally clear what y'all just got hyped about. Y'all just watched two songwriters send love letters back and forth to each other, and it took over all your attention for 2 weeks. That's it. Nothing gained. No one gained anything. Drake and Kendrick were never gonna fight. When they see each other, they ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
You watch two great songwriters write love letters back and forth to each other, but instead of Kendrick and Drake get together to open up this school where black single mothers can take their boys on a Saturday and they're gonna teach them real life lessons about how to survive.
Kids, I've had contracts. Chinese, Japanese, Jewish.
Definitely Jewish.
They go to church, they go to school on Saturday, and all the stuff they don't learn in regular school,
They learn.
They learn about their culture. They learn about
Banking,
real estate, credit, all
history,
the stuff that they don't,
everything.
the stuff that they don't teach you in regular class. They're learning this stuff.
Every Saturday.
That's true.
And we don't
I've
have
had
that.
the contracts where I took the kids on school at all. I had a contract. I would take. TDK had a humongous facility in Peachtree City, and there's some other Japanese companies here in Georgia, and they would go as far as to Macon, Georgia, to pick up the kids to come up here. They had one school. They negotiated for that school to be open with their teachers, right, on Saturday, and they paid for transportation for those kids to take chartered bus to school at the parents' expense to teach their children stuff that they will never get in their schools, in the school system.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew it was about that time. We about to bring it to a wrap.
Yeah, it's about Fridays.
I knew it was coming.
They could
You
start.
seen that Jeep?
Yeah, you start hearing.
I already know.
That was great stuff about the teaching.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we are doing it again. If they keep us, this country isn't about race. It's not about the racism is a front.
It's
It's
more
about money.
classism
It's
now.
classism now.
It's
It's about
classism
money
now.
trying to keep the poor people
Haves
at
and
each other's
have-nots.
throats.
Yeah.
But the problem is because we were here, every other race and nationality came here, and one of their jobs was to hold on to their culture.
Yes.
Our culture was stripped from us for a reason.
Yes.
So we
That's
don't
a whole nother
necessarily know.
episode.
Yes, you got to get to that.
Yeah, we're going to get to that one.
We don't know where to necessarily start, but one of the basic things is when you have such a high percentage of black men in jail, that means you have a high percentage of single mothers raising black men, black children. You need schools to teach them. Look, the internet, social media popped up. There was no education on how to use social media. So men just started slinging dick pics on the internet,
Yeah.
sliding in DMs,
Right.
because there was no teaching.
Yep.
So if you're a young kid, your daddy didn't know how to use it. You learn how to use the internet watching what's on X and seeing people. There should be etiquette. You should be able to teach a young man how to be a gentleman, how to tie a tie,
There you go.
how to do an interview,
Thank you.
how to dress,
If you
how
go
to
to
put your
court-
pants up, how you go to
If
court.
you go
and
to
look like you got
court,
sense.
you go to court, right? You got to go before the judge. You're already in a bad spot.
You show up in
Because
Crocs
there's somebody
and
gonna
pajama
sit
pants.
high and look down on you and give you a judgment for your life, whether you did it or not. Make you cop a plea for a deal, even on stuff you didn't do, because you don't want to go before the jury. And one of the reasons you don't want to go before the jury is because you'll get judged, and you'll get judged because most men don't even know how to prepare and how they should look when they go to certain places. They don't even know.
Nope.
You should have a button-down shirt. You should have a pair of slacks. You should have a dark suit. You should have at least one dark suit. You should have a slacks and at least a button-down shirt to present yourself in a certain light.
Yeah.
You got to be a certain way when you go. I try to tell a lot of young people all the time. This is part of the culture. What's going on? Even I have young daughters in their 20s. You can't do what artists do.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson said it best. P.T. Barnum, he learned from him. It's a show. It's a show. You're going in the workforce. Like, I'm a corporate guy. There's just some things I just can't do. I got to wear a certain kind of haircut. I gotta carry myself a certain way. Even if, like, it's cool if somebody else does it because they're in a different industry.
Yeah.
It won't work well for me. I'm in an industry that's controlled by a different type of people. And it's a very conservative industry. It won't work for me. If I walk in a meeting and I'm trying to get I just got a soccer contract for one of the international soccer, I got to look a certain kind of way. Because I'm already a very small part of my industry anyway. And it's very conservative. So all I'm saying to a lot of younger people is, you're looking at what everybody else is doing. You want to be tatted, full sleeves and stuff. Like my daughter did, right? But now, she's like, oh man, I shouldn't have put that on me because now I want to go apply. I want to go work here.
And
I got to try to remove this. Well, it's a lot harder to take off than it was to put on.
It
Right?
hurts a lot more, yeah.
So I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, like, you got to kind of know the things that you do has repercussions.
But you're not
And
learning
they're
that.
unforgiving now in this society.
This society, and so school's not teaching you that because school is strictly designed to get you through these standardized tests to get you out to school. So if we don't have our own schools where we're educating our people and young men on those things, yeah, if you're a creative person, you can wear your pajama pants all day. You do, but the problem is, everybody can't be in the creative industry.
Exactly.
Everybody's not going to be a successful rapper.
That's right.
Everybady's not going to be a
baller.
director. Everybody's not going to be that.
Right.
Someone has to do the other jobs.
Right. And you can be successful doing regular stuff. You don't have to say a rhyme to become wealthy. If you want to be wealthy, you can do it doing stuff that you see every day that you don't even pay attention to. It can happen. It's out there. Most of the billionaires
Have no musical ability. Can sing, rap, dance.
can't play a sport.
Can't do nothing.
Not really that creative.
Nope.
Maybe in business, maybe
Maybe on computers.
on computers. It can happen.
Happens all the time.
Explore the other options. There are a lot of options out there. Go to technical school.
But they're not
Get
sexy.
technical training.
They're not sexy. And
It's
that's
not
the
fast
problem.
enough.
It's not fast enough. It's not sexy. It doesn't attract the Instagram models. It's not as cool to go and have to. You don't get hot until you're 28 if you try and become a doctor. If you're trying to be a lawyer,
Yeah,
you
you
get
still
hot
an
until-
intern. You don't really start making money
That's
as a
what I'm
doctor until
saying.
you're in your
So-
30s, really.
Yeah, so
you doing your interns and all that stuff.
your man in the studio, and even though he ain't hitting, he got a studio full of Instagram models, and they in there partying, and it looks like he's living the life.
But it's not for everybody.
It's not, and that's why a lot of people get disappointed But again, that's also where leadership in our community has to come from.
Instant gratification is what everybody wants now.
That's what social media is doing to everybody.
Yeah.
Likes. You live for the likes. I tell artists all the time, you live by the like, you die by the like. I've seen artists, big artists, I mean superstar artists, get off a stage in front of 50,000 people, killing it. Like, I mean, destroyed the show.
Right.
Get in the car, heading back to the hotel, and they're scrolling through and they're looking at the comments, and I can see now, I've learned how to see when they hit that negative comment. It could be comment number 356, and it'll say something that's derogatory, and their entire mood will change. They forget they just performed a great show because you're living by the likes, you're dying by the likes.
Now stay out of the comments.
Stay out of the comments. I tell artists all the time, man, stay out of the comments.
Stay out of the comments.
Ain't nothing
man.
good in the comments. Ain't nothing happening in the comments.
Yeah, stay
You're
out
gonna
of the
be
comments.
200 people gonna like you, but them 50 that don't are gonna have you curled up in your room
You're
crying.
not gonna please everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry. A lot have tried it. No one has succeeded at it yet. Okay?
And social media has done the worst thing that could have happened to me, is it gave, everyone has a voice. So let me say this in a way.
Right.
But it's made everyone think that their voice matters. And I'm just going to be brutally honest. Everybody's voice does not matter.
Right.
Everyone can have an opinion.
Yes.
But everyone's opinion
Doesn't matter in your world,
more,
in your
like,
career.
Yeah, and so you're dealing with a bunch of people that aren't living your life, don't know what your life is like, are probably miserable in their life, and they're making comments on you that are eliciting a reaction. You don't know that person. All you want from that person is their money. That's it. You want them to come see a show, dance.
Right. Give them what they paid for.
That's
Your
it.
job is make their dollar that they spent worth it.
That's it.
Whatever they spent, it should
Give
be
them the
worth
experience
it.
that they
Your
got.
job is to give them the experience.
And if you gave your
the
best,
best,
then that's all you can do. Yes.
That's what I was taught.
Yes.
Man, in closing, man, I got to get you back on because we can go to a lot more areas that we just brushed on that we could get into deep as it relates to us and our community and just people, like what we can do to help. But in closing, what can you say to the watchers and the viewers that what you used to persevere, come back from that hit in the mouth, get up, get back on track, give them some of your cheat sheet.
Like a guiding light. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
So the Eagles were the biggest band in the world at one point, and they broke up at the height of their game.
Right.
And their manager, Irving Azoff, had to figure out how to survive.
Right.
And so when I went through something similar, I watched and studied his survival. So what I say to people is, if you study history, sometimes you'll find you're not the only or the first to be going through what you're going through.
Absolutely.
And you
not.
can lean and learn from how other people dealt with it.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with stealing from other people's experiences to help you weather yours.
Yes.
Like study, learn, and maybe follow their path. Let them be a light.
Right.
Second, timing is everything in life. As much you might be working hard and killing yourself, and you have to understand that sometimes you have to just wait for your time.
That's right.
You have to learn to be patient, and sometimes you have to learn to sit still. Andre Benjamin's mother, Mrs. Benjamin, once told me in the middle of one of my storms, she said, sometimes you have to, like, if you're in the middle of a storm, and think of it like a tornado, she said, sometimes you have to anchor yourself.
Right.
And you got to sit still, and you got to let the storm go around you a couple of times and see things. Because when you're in the storm, you can't see or grab anything because you're in it.
Right.
So sometimes you got to anchor yourself,
and just hold on.
sit still,
Right.
and then let it go around, and then you can grab what you need from it. When you're in the storm, it's hard to grab what you need because you're in the storm.
Right.
Settle yourself,
Right.
sit still, study,
Anchor yourself.
anchor yourself, and grab something out. And then the last thing, learn to be gentle with yourself. We don't do that enough.
Man, my dad said I'm the hardest man he ever seen on himself.
You gotta learn to be gentle with yourself. You have to give yourself grace.
Wow.
You have survived and done so much. You have weathered storms you have survived and learned, and give yourself some grace for that. A fall, a stumble, it doesn't have to be the end of you.
Right.
If you give yourself some grace, you might find that I thought I couldn't stand up. I done got up, and now I'm up, and now I'm taking steps.
That's right.